Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hello and welcome back. We are still exploring the world of Night Vale. Once again, I've just not bothered with putting up this the curtain usually behind me. Just being lazy today. A lot of it has to do with the weather being, well, stereotypical East Texas. Rain 1 second, sunny, hot the next, and the third second being below freezing. So I think until I get adjusted to the weather, we will have videos with and without the curtain. So it is what it is. So let us jump back into the black tapes and get going.
It says here she was a nursing student back then, if that information helps. Anyway, good luck with everything. Goodbye.
Good music. Or I should say, it's not necessarily good or great music. It's just very appropriate, very fitting music for what's going on.
Hello?
Hi, is this Michelle Braid?
Who's calling?
My name is Alex Regan. I'm calling from the Black Tapes podcast.
That long pause. Gotta love it.
Hello?
Michelle Braid was the woman from the experiment. She was now the head nurse at St. Joseph's Hospital in Everett, Washington. She was tired after a long shift in the ER, but graciously agreed to sit down and talk about that experiment in 1993.
That's pretty cool.
So, do you mind explaining what you saw that day?
Well, on the first day, we did a couple rounds playing with the regular Ouija board. But the next day, the board was different.
See, that right there tells you that the people conducting the experiment, that's, if they're gonna practice, that's kind of not, it's kind of stacking your data. To me, that just kind of a little unethical, but that's just me.
It was black and had these really bright white letters and weird symbols all over it. It was actually kind of pretty.
What's interesting is you look at a lot of your supposedly occult stuff, or stuff that mimics or incorporates like your ancient Aztec or Babylonian or Egyptian art and stuff. It has its own unique beauty to it.
I remember that board feeling warm to the touch. It was strange. The first few hours of the experiment were really fun, but when we did that second round with the blindfolds, I could still hear the professor calling out those letters.
Interesting.
And I could still smell it.
Smell?
Smell it? See, I'm worried less about the smell part and more concerned with the it part, to be honest with you.
Yes, it was like, almost like a musk, but rotten, like a wet, rotting deer. It was overwhelming, and there was this...
No, that's nasty. Somebody who has done a lot of hunting in my life and do a lot of hiking and adventuring both in the national forest and in state parks. You come up on a large animal, deer, coyote, bobcat that's dead and it's been laying out there. It gets wet and it's rotting. Now that is nasty. That is a smell that you don't want to smell and you never will ever forget.
Sound as well. Kind of a dark, throbbing static. It was horrible. I wish I'd never taken part in that.
Do you remember anything else that happened?
You didn't read the report?
Report?
What report?
No.
We were all debriefed after the testing and asked to submit reports of everything we experienced. I personally met with the professor.
Dr. Roth?
Yes, and I explained. I told him what I saw.
What did you see?
Well, he stopped the experiment.
I don't know if you guys are hearing it on the audio, but on my headphones, there's and it's going right, left, right, left, right, left. It's not stereo, but it's not total mono. It's like it's moving like if you're a Battlestar Galactica fan of the old original Battlestar Galactica, like the Cylon Eye going near, 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 near. That's it, and it's kind of cool to listen to in the headphones. I don't know if you're hearing it on your computer or phone or whatever you're listening to it on.
Or was about to. I can't remember exactly, but I took my blindfold off a split second before the others, and it was just standing there.
What was standing there?
This thing. This tall, dark thing.
Okay, let's try to get us some details there, kiddo.
Could you describe it?
Okay. Well, the musky, dead animal smell was overwhelming at this point, and that thing was just standing there. It was dark, but not black, more negative or kind of an absence of light. I don't really know how to explain it, but
Blue. Because if you pay attention, like nighttime isn't actually black. It's a very, very dark blue. It's the reason why, especially if you got a full moon, the fuller the moon, the more blue you get. Because if you got a really bright full moon, somebody dressed in black versus somebody dressed in a really dark blue, the person with black will be easier to spot than the blue. It's just the way our brains perceive things, that we automatically assume certain things, certain colors are what they are, but they're not. And when you start playing with them, you realize it. It's kind of a weird thing. So yeah, I would say blue, dark, almost black blue. My hair when I was younger was so black it was blue. It had to like you take a picture of it, like the old school cameras, the old film 35 mils, or the old like Polaroids. My hair always had a blue tint to it, but that's interesting. One of the reasons I go on these diatribes, on these breaks, is because the copyright algorithm, I'm not 100% sure, and I've talked to and reached out to people on how it works, and I don't think they're sure. I'm not even sure YouTube knows how it works, so you get a lot of real short breaks, and because it's a copyright thing. So
it was terrifying. It had two legs, but like an animal, tall, thick, maybe like a deer. And it had really long black hair covering its face. And it was smiling.
It was smiling?
Yes.
That's kind of creepy. Well, I imagine things from the underworld would smile if they get a chance to manifest in our world.
Sorry, but if it had hair covering its face, how could you see it smiling?
I could see its teeth.
Yeah, I've done that with my bangs just to screw with my wife. Comb my bangs straight down over my face and smile. Yeah, that kind of creeps her out. I can see, you know, somebody who's done that just to screw with my wife. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that happening. You know, you have yeah, I can honestly see from the way my wife reacts. Then you make it then you have it in the form of an actual demon.
Was this before or after the power went out?
I don't remember. It was so long ago. But there was something else.
What?
Well, right before I realized it, it was my grandfather who was speaking to us through the Ouija board. I think it was right before the question about when he died.
Yes?
Well, I felt my grandfather put his hand on my shoulder.
That would, yeah, I would be out at that point. I'd be like, peace, I'm gone.
Like he used to do when I was reading.
You felt his hand?
Yes. Just for a moment.
Can you remember anything else?
Not really. I remember feeling like I'd fallen into some kind of trance or something, and then I saw that thing. When I think back on it now, I think Dr. Ross was probably right.
What do you mean?
He told me it was a figment of my imagination.
Yeah, our brains are powerful that way. You know, there are things that are not necessarily, I wouldn't go as far as to, when you say figment of imagination, that kind of demeans the experience or infantilizes it, makes it, you know, makes a child out of you. But there are things that we see, like when you see something out of the corner of your eye, like you see something out here or something out here, and you swear to God you saw a human or a deer or whatever, and when you turn your head, there's nothing there. It's just the power of our brain to do stuff like that.
That I had been blindfolded for so long, and that my mind had been manipulated by this experiment. He said that it was natural for me to see shapes in the darkness.
Which is true. It's like we try our brain, like when we shut our eyes and we think we see things with our eyes closed, we actually don't, but our brain tries to make sense of it. That's what she is saying checks scientifically.
I think he said I had fallen into a self-hypnotic state, which caused very realistic, dreamlike visions.
Self-induced hallucinations through meditation. The Buddhists and Hindus have been doing it for centuries.
I suppose it doesn't matter in the end. We only spelled things when we weren't blindfolded. With the blindfolds on, we just spelled out nonsense.
Wait, he told you that you were spelling out nonsense while you were blindfolded?
That's right. It was just a trick of the brain.
Right.
He never did explain everything about my grandfather.
That's interesting. We'll go ahead and call this video good here. It's running a little bit long. We're just about done with this episode. We'll be creeping up on episode 9 here soon. And so, until then, be a good human. Be good to other humans. Peace.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?